All right, we are live. Hello, I am Rashonda Tate Billingsley.
And I'm Victoria Christopher Murray, and this is kind of a special pop up politics, pros, and pop culture. We really want to do these regularly, don't we?
We do, we really do. It's just got to get it up. We need a producer. Anybody out there in producer land? We need a producer. That's the problem.
Yes, if anybody wants to just volunteer to produce us, we're always ready. We just don't
Yeah,
have time to do it.
volunteer, operative word, volunteer.
So, Rashonda, you and I didn't even have a chance today because we've both been so busy. There was some big news, wasn't there?
There was, and I was so out of the loop. I had no idea what was going on until late this afternoon because I was away from the television. But this is news where President Joe Biden has the opportunity to make good on a campaign promise.
Exactly. And he's kept, it's funny that you say that because I've decided that on Facebook I'm not a good leader. And do you know why I say that? So when I post something very positive, if I were a good leader, everybody would just follow me and be positive. But I'll post something like, hey, Maya Angelou's going to be on the quarter. And people will post, yeah, but what happened to Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill?
Right.
And I said, well, let's celebrate this part first. And then she said to me, yeah, but we're giving up $20 for a quarter. I was like, that's not how it works. Abraham Lincoln is on the penny. That's not how it works with us. And she's like, yeah, but $20 is worth more. I was like, oh my God. And so today I posted that he's going to make good. He's going to do it, appoint a Black woman to the Supreme Court. And people on my page were like, yeah, but how do we know he's going to keep his promise? And he's failed on the Voting Rights Act. And I was like,
yes,
there's something wrong with me.
Can we relish in what could possibly be and what it looks like it's going to be? So let's backtrack. Let's talk about the retirement first.
Yes. And so Stephen Breyer has been on the Supreme Court for over 30 years. He was appointed by Bill Clinton. And so he is the oldest on there. Clarence Thomas is the second oldest, but Clarence Thomas was on there longer than Stephen because Clarence Thomas was appointed by which I always say Reagan, but I think it was Bush. But anyway, so it was really hard for Justice Breyer to do this because he has always said that the Supreme Court cannot be political.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, if he just retires now, it's going to look like it was political. I don't even understand why he says that. When you are appointed by certain presidents, that's what you are. He comes from a day when not Clarence Thomas, but Antonio Scalia got 98 votes. He comes from that time where even Lindsey Graham believes, or he used to believe, we'll see what happens now, that you should vote for the president should get the Supreme Court appointments that he wants. So Stephen Breyer is a liberal, really, but a pragmatic person who just believed in the rights of women, the rights of minorities. He wrote an amazing piece when it came time to protecting the Affordable Care Act. And so because I like to go in and read especially the dissents of the Supreme Court justices. And so he's been a big person.
But I think he also, he tries to take the high road, but I think he saw what happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, and they were good friends.
Yes.
And he knows what's up, and he knows what time it is because normally he would have retired at the end of this session, which would have been in June. And I think he understands the risk of having older people in Congress. If somebody gets out with COVID, we won't have enough votes. I mean, it has to be pushed through. So that's who he is.
So let's talk about, though, Biden promised a Black woman on the Supreme Court. You hear all these people saying, we don't think it's going to happen. We know that's just the negativity. People in general just saying, he's not going to keep that promise. I have a good feeling this, because now is the time.
But there's not, I mean, there's no, I don't even understand people saying that's not going to happen. I don't even understand that. Like, somebody on my page said, will he keep his promise? He's kept every promise.
Yeah.
He's kept every promise that he said. He can't do the Voting Rights Act by himself, but he put together so I don't know what when a person says that, I could answer them if I understood that point, but I don't understand what they're saying. It's like they're speaking a different language.
Well, I think it's because people automatically go to the negative. They're like, well, he promised to get voting rights passed without understanding how passing voting rights works.
Yeah, and this is what he said. He says, I'm going to fight to get voting rights passed. He did. I would have bet all the money I have, all the money you have, and all the money that anyone following us have, that Joe Manchin would have never stood on the other side of history. I thought Joe Manchin would have done a carve out. So but Joe Biden has nothing to do with that. So I don't understand. It's like speaking Chinese, and I can't answer a person if I don't understand that. Right. So it's not that this is the time. That's not what's going on. What's going on is that a Black woman is going to be appointed to the Supreme Court. And I thought what you were going to say, because to say that's not going to happen and he's not going to keep his, that's a foreign thing. I thought you were going to say, people are saying, why are you saying a Black woman? Why don't you say the most qualified person? Well, the best thing that Joe Biden ever did was on his short list is the most qualified people. And the woman who I think it's going to be is a Harvard undergrad, a Harvard law school. She's been on everything. I did not know Ketanji. I did not know her until Trump's first impeachment. And everybody's going to say, well, I don't recognize her name. You do, you will know her. Mm-hmm. She's the woman who said, Trump is not a king. The president is not a king. And she gave this scathing thing when she was saying that he cannot possibly say that McCann, his attorney, couldn't testify because the president is not a king. And so when I heard that a Black woman had said that, I looked her up, and that's when I found out all about her. And then Biden, are you still there? So I don't know if it's me frozen or you.
So I don't know if it's your internet. I don't know if your internet. I don't know if it's the GOP trying to shut us up. Keep talking. It looks like we're back.
Okay, it does look like we're back.
On the screen, though, these are some of the possible high court picks. Now, the woman you're talking about is Ketanji. She's the first one that we see up on the screen.
Yes, and the reason I believe it will be her over everybody else is because Joe Biden, who has appointed 42 judges, he's appointed 42 judges. We don't even understand how important that is. He's appointed 42 federal judges. 70% of them are either women or people of color. He's changing the face of the court. We thought Trump had done it. Biden came in and said, hold my beer. And he went and he's really doing it. But the reason I believe it's going to be her is that Merrick Garland was on the DC District Court, which is the Court of Appeals, which is the second highest court in the nation. It's second only to the Supreme Court. And so the reason I believe it's going to be her was she replaced Merrick Garland. And in order to sit on that court, you have to be confirmed. And she was confirmed not only by all 50 Democrats, all of his judges have been. Mm-hmm. She was also confirmed by 3 Republicans, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Lindsey Graham.
Well, word, from among White House people is that she's the top contender. But, look at this list. There are plenty of qualified Black women for Biden to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah, but we can't. This is one thing that the reason I wanted to get on here. There's a wonderful list, and everybody's going to have their favorites, and they're going to be like Cheryl and Eiffel, and all these other people. She's my soror, so I love her. We have to get somebody confirmed,
Right.
and it has to happen fast. And there's only one person on there who's already been confirmed.
And that was the next thing that I had, and that's that happening fast. Why is it necessary that this happens fast?
Because we only have a 50-50 Congress. And if anything happens to one person on the Democratic side, excuse me, it's over. So if somebody gets COVID, we have some of the oldest people, excuse me, on there. So we have to do it now, or else it won't happen. And so it doesn't make sense to me for us to go down that list when one person who was a law clerk for the justice who's retiring, Stephen Breyer, she was a law clerk for him. It doesn't make sense to me, because I know that's going to be the next thing. After people say what I don't understand, they're like, it's never going to happen. I don't get it. They'll say, well, I want it to be this person and I want it to be that person. Picking people who can never get confirmed. Sharon Eiffel would be amazing because she is a civil rights attorney, like Thurgood Marshall was, and everybody says she's the female Thurgood Marshall, and she would never get confirmed.
Yeah. Who's Sherlyn?
Yeah.
And I think that, a lot of people have to understand that he has to be smart in this. He can't just put, his Black girlfriend up, even if she's qualified, if she's not going to get confirmed.
Yeah.
Because they're going to kick the can down the road as much as they can. By they, I mean the Republicans. But if you put someone up there that they've already given the thumbs up to, then, they look real political and real crazy trying to deny it.
And, I think, I'm not sure, but the Republicans know they can't stop this, because Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema have voted for every single one of Joe Biden's 42 judges. Joe Manchin has voted for every Democratic judge since he entered the Senate. So you don't have to, that's a totally different thing. You don't have to put that in there. So the Republicans know that the Democrats will get this through if we keep focusing, just get it through. If they were smart, knowing that they're going to lose it anyway, if they were smart, they would vote for the first Black female. So that then they can go home and say, we're not racist. We don't want to talk about slavery or critical race theory, but we just voted for the Black girl.
Yeah. And they'll definitely run on that. We had a comment from Robin Pendleton. This is why I tell people to pay attention to how judges handle cases and don't give them carte blanche when on the ballot. Because, we'll go in and we haven't done our homework and we will just do some votes without really paying attention. And this is one of those critical reasons why we need to pay attention.
Yeah, we need to pay attention, and we need to vote for senators and Congress people. Like today when I was speaking with the people on my Facebook page, and people are disappointed in Biden, which I don't understand, because he, besides cutting child poverty in half, besides making sure that every single person will have clean drinking water in this country with this infrastructure that did go through, besides wages going up, unemployment going down, more people vaccinated that would have ever been voted with Trump, stock market at the highest level it's ever been, higher than Trump. I don't understand how people don't know that the Voting Rights Act couldn't happen unless it went through Congress. Now, there are some things that Biden may end up having to do through executive orders, but that won't last if a Republican president comes in, because he'll just wipe it off. So that's why you want to do everything through Congress, because even though we voted, we were not happy with the tax cut. And so we were thinking, okay, as soon as we get it back, the taxes are going to go back up. Once you take somebody's taxes down, it's hard to take them back up. So you got to do things by law. You can't do it by executive order. And he's going to be forced to do some crime reforms by executive order, some voting things by executive order, and they're only going to be laws for 2 years. And I wish Black people understood that.
Yeah. Hazel summed it up best. People have misplaced frustration.
Yeah,
This is,
that's a great way to say that, Hazel.
yeah.
That's a great, I think Hazel lives in Kentucky too. And so she's with Mitch McConnell. So she knows where to place the frustration. It's not with Biden. I can give you a whole list. Maybe that'll be another show of
Right.
all of his accomplishments, which is greater in his first year than any president in a long time. And so people will say, well, he promised to get rid of COVID. He did, but he did not have any clue that people were not going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
And then when he tries to force people through mandates, the Supreme Court knocks him down. I don't know how you blame him for that.
Well, we'll have to come back and do another show on that. We are winding up. We just had to jump on and talk about this historical moment because that's what it is. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this happens quickly. It will happen. We just want it to happen quickly.
Yeah.
We can celebrate the first Black female Supreme Court justice.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
I cannot wait. But Biden's waiting for I almost said Scalia, for Breyer to say, to give his official letter. And then even when they rushed through the last Supreme Court, the woman for Trump, it still took about 27 days. So people need to understand the process.
Well, we'll have to come back and talk about Biden's accomplishments because the Democrats, they need us on their team spreading the messaging because they try to just move in silence. They don't operate like.
I think what they do is they're trying to do the work, right. And so they don't have the time. I don't think they're trying to be silent. I think they're like, okay, that's like what's happening with Kamala. She's working her butt off and having major accomplishments. So she doesn't have the time to put up all the stuff. So people are just seeing what they see on the news, and they have no discernment. They're not reading other things. They're not figuring it out for themselves. And so the Republicans just spend all their time messaging, and what the Democrats do is they spend all their time working.
All right. Well, speaking of time, we're wrapping up, but we cannot go without saying a gigantic congratulations to you, Victoria. Tell everybody the latest news. I mean, like we need to cue. I wish we had a DJ and a producer because we would cue Alicia Keys. Whoever sings "This Girl Is on Fire" because you are on fire.
Well, it's so funny because I know when we got on and we said we got big news, I know people were thinking that. And you and I are thinking, no, the big news, because I called you up and said, oh my God, we're going to get our first Black. But yes, so we signed this deal. Do you remember when I was on the phone call and everything in Martha's Vineyard?
Yes.
That's when it all started. And so we signed a deal months ago, but it was announced today that Al Roker, his production company, has optioned The Personal Librarian to become not a movie, but a miniseries. And his wife.
We don't know where it's going to land, but something tells me Netflix.
Yeah, he knows where it's going to land.
Yeah. But we don't know where it's going to land. But so you don't binge watch. You don't have to binge watch your own movie, but we binge watch, and this will be one that's on the list because I know it's going to be good. I'm so excited about Deb Roberts and Al Roker doing this.
Yeah, I am too. You knew from the beginning how Deb was over the top enthusiastic about this book. And she just loved it and had always wanted to do something with it. And we had other people come to us. And the thing that made this so interesting is that Heather and I always wanted it to be Al and Deb because their enthusiasm matched ours.
Yeah. Well, and for all the people that are listening, drop in the box. We're going to give our 2 cents on who we think should play Belle. Not that they'll listen, but hey, maybe Deb and Al and the whole production team is reading this. We're going to work on my role. I'm a little dark to play Belle, but let's hear who people think.
So you think it's the skin tone that won't let you play Belle?
Oh, that's it. I'm just a tad bit dark. That's it. Did
Okay,
you not
because
know?
it has nothing to do with the fact that the story starts when she's like 16.
All I gotta do is do my hair different, and I got it. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
And
and we
and she goes and then the story she goes as old, I think, as 30.
yeah, I think I can pull 30 off. I mean, people may not believe I'm that old, but I can pull off 30. And I act. Hey, you saw my
Well,
performance.
see, that was the challenge. I saw your
And
performance.
on that note, we are out of time. We are right on the mark. We'll have to come back and talk all about the personal librarian. And she's so modest that she's not talking about. She has a Lifetime movie. She's heading out to film that next week. Can you tell people who are in those movies?
Can't tell you who's in the movie yet. Can't
Okay.
tell you who's in the movies yet. I have to wait for Lifetime to announce, but I will be heading out on Sunday to the beginning of Greed. Wrath is already done. Wrath is done.
I told her she's going to change her number and not let people get in touch with it. I'm going to show up on her doorstep, though.
See, here's the thing. That's the reason I'm gonna answer your calls, because you will show up to on my doorstep with curlers in your hair and everything just to piss me off.
Absolutely, I will be there telling the embarrassing you till you come downstairs. So
That's
all right, we
right.
can come back and talk about that. Right now, we're on cloud nine because of our soon-to-be Black female Supreme Court justice.
Yep.
So we just wanted to come on and share with you, and we will be back. We're gonna have to come back, Victoria. We got to find us a producer so we
If
can
we
get.
can find a producer, we'd be here every week.
Yep, we're working on it. Somebody out there who can produce for us. All right. Now I'm Rashonda Tate Billingsley. Carrot on.
And I'm Victoria Christopher Murray. Bye.
Bye.